Hi Capricorn, welcome to your October 2019 Astrology 33 reading. Thank you to those of you who liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And just to let you guys know, I actually will be resuming personal readings in October. So for those of you watching this as soon as I post it, still a couple weeks away from that. But yeah, once October rolls around, if you guys are interested in a personal reading, just shoot me an email. You can check out the description of the video for all the information on that. Alright, so with that out of the way, we have a Celtic Oracle spread in front of us as always, and then we have some Oracle cards to get to and a Mudra card. The first thing I'm picking up on here is I feel like a lot of you want to move, literally move, like actually move from one house to another, one city to another, but there could be some delays around that. But we'll see how it plays out. In the main situation position, we have the Hermit. So this is actually the major arcana card for Virgo. So some of you can be dealing with a Virgo. But if not that, this could just be pointing to Virgo being the natural ruler of the sixth house. This can just be saying that you're putting a lot of focus on your work, maybe even just your daily routines, even up to and including your health routines. But this can also point to ninth house matters as well. So maybe some of you are possibly even with that move, maybe that move will be abroad for some of you. And maybe even this will be revolving around studying. So let's say you're in college, for example, maybe you've applied to study abroad and maybe you've started that this semester or maybe next semester you will be. That could be what's going on there. But for a lot of you, I feel like it hasn't happened yet because I'm getting a delay energy around this. And, it could just be that you're really looking things over very closely before making the move. Obviously, especially if it is an international move, I could see why you would do that, right? That's not something you just want to do on a whim necessarily. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing with this card. In the challenger obstacle position, we have the Two of Wands in reverse. So this is what gives me the main vibe of the delay aspect. On top of the fact that the Hermit energy is really looking at things closely, really studying them, by itself, it wouldn't necessarily mean a delay. It just means that you've taken a lot of precautions, and maybe that's even coming to an end. But with the Two of Wands in the reverse, we'll talk about it in the upright anyway. But the vibe that I'm getting with this coming up in reverse in the challenger obstacle position is that there's some kind of delay around that move that you want to make. This shows me that you are ready, but there's just something holding you back for now. Can be a combination of the two. Like, let's say you want to move somewhere, but you haven't secured a job in the city you want to move to yet. Or vice versa, you have the job, but you haven't found a place to live yet, right? So that could be what's going on there. Something along those lines is mainly what I'm picking up on. And especially with this being a card of Aries, that represents fourth house matters too. So that's why I'm really feeling that for a lot of you, this is centered around moving homes. In the foundation position, we have the Four of Cups. So this is actually a Cancer energy. So for some of you, maybe this is part of the delay, right? Maybe you're in a relationship and you want to move somewhere, but the person you're with doesn't, right? Maybe you're trying to convince them that it'd be a good idea, right? But maybe they just really don't want to do it. But for others of you, this could even represent you and your energy. This could just be saying that maybe if you're trying to sell your house, for example, the offers you're getting so far you're not satisfied with, and you're like, okay, I'm not really going to accept these offers. So this could just be you, getting impatient and unsatisfied with the fact that you haven't gotten an offer, but at the same time not ready to budge on that yet either. So it could just be the energy that you're in. And let me see if anything else comes to mind with this. Yeah, that's really primarily what I'm picking up on there. In the past energy, we have the Five of Swords. So this actually is an energy, what I usually point out with this energy is it's one of those conflicts that you go into where you know that nothing good is going to come out of the confrontation, but you still have it anyway, right? So a lot of times it's seen as pointing to an ego conflict, but it doesn't always necessarily have to be that. It could just be that your frustration built up to a certain point, and in the heat of the moment, maybe just didn't get it out in the best way, right? Not in the most constructive way. But with this in the past position, This is a card of Aquarius as well, so for some of you, this can even represent some deception around money. So, maybe there was could have been in any area of life, but it could have been with a friend as well, since Aquarius is the ruler of the 11th house, which is friendships. But yeah, I see that there could have been some conflict with friends, and maybe this is what's spurring you to want to move as well. Maybe just your friend group, you might feel like you've outgrown them in some way, shape, or form, and you're like, all right, I'm just ready to get some movement going here. But yeah, that's what I'm picking up on there primarily. In the present position, we have the Ten of Swords. So definitely not the most positive energy to get, right? No matter how you want to slice it. But there's a few ways that this could be playing out as well. This is technically a Gemini card. So for you guys, Gemini is your 6th house. So again, like I said, this can be an ending for you around work. Maybe you're just moving jobs, if not literally moving, right? Maybe you're still going to be in the same city, but you're just moving from one job to another. Another way this could play out too is this could have also been some harsh communications, and also the ending of that. Maybe it was that final conflict, for example. So maybe this is a person that you've had circular arguments with that 5 of Swords energy, and now maybe in the present you finally just decide to call it quits with that person, right? That could be how it's playing out, especially since for you guys, if we think about Gemini being the natural ruler of the 3rd house, your 3rd house is Pisces, and we just had a full moon there. So that could have been what really brought things to a head, basically, where it was like, all right, now it's over, basically. And another way this could be playing out, though, if we do look at it in combination with the Hermit energy in the main situation, can just be saying that this is you finally coming out of that thought process of regarding what move you want to make next. Because like I said, for a lot of you, I feel like there was delay around the move. So maybe this was just you with that Hermit energy. You're really looking things over, reviewing, all right, where do I want to move next? How do I want to move next? And this could just be representing in the present. You're making up your mind. And, wouldn't surprise me too much as far as at the time I'm recording this, Saturn pretty much finally just went direct. And as we get into October, Pluto will go direct too. So where you might have felt a little unsure of yourself in certain areas, as those planets in your sign start to move direct, that should help with that as far as clearing up those that fog that you might have been feeling. And speaking of fog, especially because you've had Neptune in your house of communication, and Sagittarius is your 12th house, and we have Jupiter in there, and it's been squaring Neptune. That's finally coming to an end as well. So as we get through October, that square is going to stop. So that just might help you be a bit more decisive in your actions as well. All right, and in your future position, we have the 7 of Wands and the 5 of Wands. So 5 of Wands energy is similar to 5 of Swords. I don't view it necessarily nearly as bad. As far as there's usually not necessarily malicious intent with this card, whereas with the 5 of Swords, like I said, it's one of those things where nothing good's going to come of it. This could even be something where it could start off a bit playful, but maybe people can end up with hurt feelings in the process, where 5 of Swords, you feel like there's no good intent with that at all, necessarily. So this could be playing out a few ways. For those of you who are applying for new jobs, right, because you're moving, this could represent that you actually stand out among the other applicants, because the 7 of Wands energy with the 5 of Wands shows that, okay, there can be some conflict or competition, but as you could see here, the person here has the higher ground, quite literally. So, that's going to help him stand above the rest, basically, and actually be able to overcome the competition. So that could be what's going on there. That could just represent, obviously, some positive progress in that area if you are looking for new jobs, or again, even if it revolves around placing offers for a house, right? Whatever the case may be, looks like there should be some positive momentum there. And I'm trying to think if anything else comes to mind with this. And some of this could even be centered around, maybe, since this is Leo energy, both of these cards, and Leo represents your 8th house, this could even represent that maybe there was some difficulty securing a loan, for example, if you needed a loan to move somewhere. And maybe this is saying that now, they finally are actually going to give you that loan. In the position of your influence on the situation, we have the Ace of Wands. So this shows me that you are ready to move. Like I said, for some of you, just literally moving houses or. But for others of you, just in general, this to me represents that desire to move forward. Like I said, that could definitely be partially because your ruler already in your sign just went direct, so that could help you there. And then also Pluto, the 3rd or 4th of October, I believe, goes direct too, so that could just really be what reinvigorates you in some way, shape, or form. And then plus you're going to have Mars moving into your 10th house of career and social status too, so that could help spark that area of your life as well when that takes place. So to me, it just looks like you're ready for something new and ready to take action toward that. So basically, if there is a hold up here, even if in this position it was primarily due to you, maybe with that Ten of Swords, like we said in the present, that shows that, pretty quickly you're going to move out of that energy and just be ready to move forward. In the position of the environment, we have the Emperor and the Two of Pentacles. So this is actually a Capricorn card. Represents the first 10 degrees of Capricorn. So if that's where your Capricorn placement is, this might even reflect your energy. And this could just be saying, just really being in control. Or for some of you, the way this could actually play out is on the surface showing that you're, controlled, cool, calm, collected, right? But beneath the surface, you actually might be a bit indecisive. So this could just be the face that you're showing to everyone else, but underneath it all, you still could be a bit undecided, right? Like I said, if it is moving from one place to another, maybe you're not sure. Maybe like, all right, well, do I want to spend this much for a house, right? Maybe this area is a bit too expensive for what my budget is. Things along those lines. For others of you, this can just represent if you do get a job, a job offer. You might have a boss who, is going to try to be tight with the money. So I would say with the Two of Pentacles here, this does show that you would have some room to negotiate with them. So even if they show you this firm front, to me the Two of Pentacles show that they're a little undecided too, that they can be swayed basically. So, if they give you that first offer and they might seem like they're a tough negotiator, obviously you have to feel that out for yourselves. Each situation is different, but I do feel like this is saying that you can get some wiggle room with them. Same thing if it's someone you're trying to buy a house from too, right? Same thing. They could seem like, oh no, this is it. I won't take any less, right? But beneath it all, it's like, all right, you could probably negotiate with them a little bit. So that's what I'm picking up on there. And since I did mention that possible relationship vibe where maybe it was the one person doesn't want to move, right? And you do, can be something going on with that too, as far as, again, they could be showing you that, no, I refuse to move, but underneath it all, they might be a little on the fence too, as opposed to they might try to show you, oh no, I'm 100% dead set on staying here, I'm not moving, I refuse to move, but underneath it all, they really are like, well, weighing the pros and cons. So same vibe there as far as they might be able to be swayed in that regard. In the hopes or fears position, we have the Ten of Pentacles. So I'm going to assume that this is a hope for most of you. So, can this be saying that you're hoping for financial increase, and maybe that's a big reason for your move, right? Maybe some of you realize that where you are now might have a very high cost of living, for example, let's say, and you're like, all right, well, I have a degree, right? Maybe that's what it's about. I could do this job in another area of the country. Where I'm at now is too expensive. Maybe I need to move somewhere else. And maybe that's where it came from. And maybe the person you're with, for example, maybe they grew up in that area, right? So they're like, oh, I don't want to leave. Maybe it's the only place they've ever lived. Whereas for you, you might not have as much firm roots set there. You might have moved there for your job originally. Now you're like, all right, I want to move somewhere else. So this can just be saying that you're hoping for that stability. You're hoping to see financial increase. And, that's what you're hoping for with this move, essentially. And, we do have the Death card at the bottom of the deck, too, which can definitely represent an ending. And then if we look at the fact that they're moving away from that Ten of Swords, right, toward that Ten of Pentacles, that's a pretty positive sign there as well. So, if there is some hesitation around can the move be beneficial for you, it looks like yes. If that's the type of environment you're leaving, it looks like it would improve your situation if you did move. All right, and then in the outcome position, we have the Two of Swords in reverse and the Six of Cups in reverse. So we'll talk about these in the upright, just so it's a little less confusing. But this card basically can represent indecisiveness. It actually represents the first 10 degrees of Libra, too. So for some of you, this can just say that you guys might end up making up your mind during those days. So for those of you who watch this in October, this might say that coming into October, you may have already made up your mind. But for those of you who watch this when I first post it, keep an eye out on those first 10 days of Libra. You might find that you're coming to a decision about what you want to do. This could definitely represent, like I said, it could be a combination of career and home as far as, okay, maybe you're waiting for a job offer in a place where you're looking to move, or, the other way around, right? But with this coming up in reverse, to me, it does represent that you would be actually making a decision. And since this is a Libra energy, that's 10th house, can be regarding career. And with the Six of Cups coming up in reverse, this can represent that you could be leaving the old job behind, basically, for another job, and an old area behind. Because with the Six of Cups, to me, that represents, yes, it's a reconciliation energy. So for some of you, if this is all somehow related to someone coming back around, or you trying to decide if you want a second chance with someone, I see that you might decide against it by the end of the month, or sometime during the month. But with this coming up in reverse, to me it represents those places that you might have just been in for years, basically. And with that coming up in reverse, along with the Two of Swords, it could be saying, all right, I'm going to move away from the old and the familiar and move on to something new. With that Ace of Wands energy, like we said, we see the Two of Wands, even though it's in reverse, it looks like it's a desire of yours. The Death card, a lot of change there. All right, moving on to your oracle cards. The first one we have is Never Ending Story. There's the artwork for it, and 37 is the number, in case that has any significance for you. Let's see what that has to say. It says, self-criticism, the wounded ego, unnecessary dramas. Well, at the very least, Five of Swords definitely looks like unnecessary dramas, and maybe to an extent Five of Wands too, but it looks like you could definitely overcome that, like we spoke about earlier. The oracle's message says there is a story woven through the imperfect fabric of life that tells of hurt and loss, rejection and humiliation, self-loathing and arrogance, and all manner of suffering born of unnecessary dramas. It is the old story whose refrain is that you cannot do this, must not go there, should not say that, lest your world come crumbling down. Today, know that none of this is actually true. The sky is not falling. The voice you hear is just a small, scared, conditioned part of you that got stuck in a lie, wants to protect you, and needs to be seen as a victim. Love that lost piece of you. Fear is all it knows. Distorted guidance is preventing you from being true to yourself. You are not your story, and the narrator is simply the voice of your fearful part, small and vulnerable and easily soothed. So that's interesting too. I didn't necessarily pick up on that kind of a vibe before, but I mean, maybe this is even what that Five of Swords energy is pointing to. Maybe that's that wounded part of you, right? Where it might have even been a bit of self-sabotage. Usually that's more of like the Seven of Swords energy, but maybe that's how it played out for some of you, right? And maybe this is saying that you're finally putting that to bed and moving forward. All right, the relationship message says sometimes your heart enters into a contract with another that results in pain, not because of abuse or neglect, but for other, more complex reasons. Shame, fear of intimacy, and low self-esteem are the greatest challenges to success of a relationship. Consider how valuable this knowledge is, however. Right now, you have an opportunity for important healing, but you must reflect on the stories you weave about love, connection, abandonment, rejection, and loneliness. Not only do you need to begin a new story, you need to forgive yourself for telling yourself the old ones. Have compassion for the part of you that believes all those narratives. None of them were ever true anyway. So that's interesting there too, because that makes me think of the fact that, on top of the Saturn and Pluto transit you guys have going on, obviously you also have the South Node in your sign and the North Node in your opposite sign. So that can just be saying that those transits working together could be, helping you let go of some limiting beliefs you might have had about yourself. And with this, the North Node in the seventh house could just be saying moving you towards healthier romantic relationships in that regard too. Okay, the prosperity message says fear, envy, procrastination, greed, and the perception of victimhood could all be active in your life at this moment. Are you comparing yourself with others, thinking their success should be yours? Maybe you're afraid of all the good that is coming your way, so you step out of your lane, totally aware of what you're doing, but seemingly powerless to stop yourself. Are you back where you started, or in a situation that reminds you of past failures? Financial insecurity scaring you? You must learn to love yourself through missteps and sabotaging moments. Use criticism constructively right now. Better yet, stop telling this story altogether. Make up a new one. The universe loves you deeply and will wait for you to figure that out. Tell a new story and success is all but guaranteed. You can do it. So that's interesting there too. The financial insecurities part almost made me think of the Two of Pentacles there. So maybe this is saying that, like I was saying, for some of you, I thought that maybe this would be someone else putting on that front, but it maybe even could have been you, like making it seem like you're cool, calm, collected on the surface, but beneath it all, you're really worried about the finances, right? Which is natural. I mean, everyone has that fear at one point or another in their life, so that could be what's going on there. Maybe you guys could look into some stones for that too, crystals or stones like black tourmaline, just stuff like that that would help with grounding. You could look into some others, but yeah, there's definitely plenty of help for that. All right, and moving on to your next oracle card, we have Dolphin Spirit. Says this and that are true. There's the artwork for it, and the number for this one is 20. So, I mean, before we even read that, that makes me think of the two energy, right? The Two of Swords in reverse, the Two of Pentacles we see there, almost weighing two options, basically, the Two of Wands, plenty of two energy. So, this and that are true could be, pointing to why you're having difficulty with that forward movement, right? Because you could be really looking at both sides of the situation. All right, it says Dolphin Spirit, like her earthly manifestation, is a reminder of duality. As the dolphin is both mammal and sea creature, so too is Dolphin Spirit both this and that. Two truths coexist, the story you tell and another as well. The duality of life is present when we are suffering, for there is a blessing too in the helpers that appear. Within clouds are silver linings. When we later reflect on what happened, we can see that the situation was both this and that, and a choice led to both joy and sorrow. No relationship is either all good or all bad, and people have qualities of both light and shadow. Focus on the positive, for light exists alongside the darkness. Dolphin Spirit calls for you to come up from below and enjoy a weightless moment in the sun as you dive in and out of this and then that, accepting and even enjoying the duality of life. Why not join Dolphin Spirit in acknowledging and affirming the blessings present in this moment? In all areas of your life, there are aspects of both this and that. Today you can celebrate this fact and recognize the complexity and the beauty of the fabric of the universe. You are at a place right now where your past self is still present, and you must move toward the new self you are becoming. Aspects of both selves are present, so even if you want to say goodbye to what was, you are required to find solace in this between time. Today is not a day to choose one over another either, but rather to accept things as they are without judgment or resistance. Even in matters of the heart, duality is present. Your next action will be obvious when you drop your bias and see things as a whole. So that was a lot there, but hopefully that did resonate for you guys. I mean, I could see, some of where that could play out with the reading, definitely. All right, and then the last thing we have is a Mudra card. This is the Mudra that you guys got, and it's the Shankha Mudra. The keyword for it is mystery. Just what you guys need, right? More mystery, but let's see what it has to say. Okay, so I'll leave this up for a bit. If you guys want to pause it or take a screenshot, you can to see what it has to say. And then not everything's fitting into frame, so I'm just going to move it up so we can see the rest. Okay, it says improves the voice, helps reduce speech defects such as stuttering, calms the mind, improves concentration, nourishes the kidneys and sexual glands, benefits the hair and bones, has a special connection with the navel center, thereby improving digestion and increasing appetite. So that sounds like something you think would be beneficial for you guys. I will put the name of that in the description as well if you wanted to look into it a little further. But we'll wrap up there, guys, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.